Hey y'all, so I'm gonna try something different. So I have a blog, and I'll put it in the description of this video. It's www.askamo.wordpress.com, and then soon it'll just be askakamo.com. I just haven't linked it up yet. So I'm gonna do something different because that blog I've had for 7 years, and I'm noticing. I think people are going from the blog, the written blogs to the video blogs. So I'm gonna start doing more video blogging. I'll probably do a little bit of both. I have some stuff that I wrote up that I haven't loaded up. I haven't put on the blog yet. So I thought about, you know what? Let's make a video since I've been following video blogs. So what topic do I want to talk about today? Uh, this is what I was gonna write on dreams. So I know a lot of folks have dreams, and for those who don't know, I've been running a sales and HR consulting business for about 7 years. Well, we've been incorporated for 7 years. I've been running it for about 11 years, and I've hired myself out as sales, as a salesperson, as a sales manager, as an operations manager. Even in a couple places, I've acted in a role of carried a title as vice president of operations, even though I wasn't really the vice president. I was just taking that role and helping startups as well as existing businesses. I've rescued failing businesses, and so it's been a lot in 11 years, and I've been able to support myself without having to go and take additional employment. For those who knew me almost 30 years ago, like 25, 26 years ago, know that I've worked at KFC, I've worked at Kmart, Sears to support my business, you know what I mean? So I've got it figured out by now, and I can pretty much take almost any business that's on its last legs, and if my client, you, are willing to take supplemental income just to bring a little extra money in, I can help you guide it back on track. You know what I'm saying? So this is hopefully going to be my last year doing that, and so what I want to do now is take all that knowledge from managing employees and putting together a sales program, marketing program, stuff like that, to just, basic operation stuff. And I want to put it in, I don't know, the form of courses or stuff like this, a blog, like a free resource, maybe even have like a couple of things that I sell on there, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, so let me get back to my point. So I've had a lot of folks say, well, I want to do this, but I don't have the money. And this is going to be kind of motivational, so I hope you guys don't think it's bullshit. It's not bullshit. What happens is in life, you have two types of people. You have the ones who believe it can happen, and then you have the ones who just do not believe it can happen. And the ones who believe it can happen, you have the ones who believe it's possible, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And then you have the other ones who think it's possible, but they'll only try if they get help. And the ones who don't believe it's possible, just don't try. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you get the guy that works for the state or works for the, school system or the bus system or something like that. Or, he kind of bounces around on low paying jobs all his life, always in the back of his head having a dream that, I want to do this business. There's something I want to do. I want to make an album, or I don't give nobody advice on that shit, but they don't even try, right? And then you have, like I said, the ones who they will borrow money from grandma's retirement fund. They'll let mom and dad, refinance the house, and they'll borrow the money to get it done, or they'll go to the bank. They'll go to the Small Business Administration and apply for the loan. which as a person of color, if you're a person of color watching this video, I wouldn't expect many non-people of color to be watching my videos. You've probably had this experience where you run into a no everywhere you go. And unfortunately, for those of us who are black and brown, that's what happens. So going with the ones who are willing to do everything, because there are some people who are willing to do everything, but they don't know what to do. And so that's what I want to talk about right now. I don't believe in borrowing the money from family. I did it. When I opened my first business, I was 22 years old. I had a scholarship. I was still in college. I had a scholarship that paid my tuition, and a friend of mine had bought a car with a student loan. And I was like, whoa, that was something, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't know that the student loan could be done for that. And thank God I didn't find out until my senior year of college. So what I did was I went, applied, I got the student loan. I used that student loan to open my martial arts school. And that was foolish. I was lucky because when I opened in a pretty good area. I had a cheap rent. You know, I had studied the business previously for at least almost 4 years before doing it. So I had what they call dumb luck. I had beginner's luck that I jumped in it, and within a couple months I made money. I did have to supplement. Like I said, I did work periodically, fast food and Kmart and Sears, stuff like that, to make it happen. Even worked at the post office when I could get those jobs. But for the most part, I stayed in business from 1992 until 2016. 2016, my student took over the business. Well, two of my students took over the business. So I've been pretty fortunate. I've seen a lot of guys open and close. You know what I mean? I have had locations that failed. And that's when I would try to do too much. I'd go open second locations, third locations, stuff like that. But when I came to California, I had a fire in my building, and I had to move from the building that I was in to another one, and it cost more money. I went from kind of a suburb area to like right to Midtown, where like a really busy street was Broadway in Sacramento. And I took over two stores side by side. I borrowed that money from my sister and a good friend of the family, and then some money that I had saved. And let me tell you what happened. In that spot, I made money, but I had two babies back to back. Within 13 months, I had two babies. That's not an excuse, but being the young person that I was, immature, selfish, I had to make a decision. Keep this business going, feed my family, repay the loan. I did not pay the loan. I put a little money aside when I could and sent it, but for the most part, I did not pay the loan. That was a dark cloud over my head for years. And I would always advise everybody, don't borrow money for family. You don't want to start off in business. Already in debt, because, you don't always make money those first few months. Most people tell you you're not going to make money your first few months. I actually challenge that notion. You should make money your first few months. If you don't make money in the first few months, you shouldn't be in business. That's my opinion. But you may not make enough to pay the bills of that business. And most places that you go, especially retail, shopping centers, things like that, they will give you 3 months up front anyway. You know what I'm saying? Or start off with you just pay half a month's rent, and then it goes up as you. But even with that, you have to make the decision: do I pay my rent at home? Do I buy food for the kids? Do I buy diapers? Or do I repay the loan? So that's a lot of pressure to have, especially if you know the struggles that family went through, just to believe in you. Sometimes family don't believe in you that much, and they give it to you anyway because they love you. Trust me. When you sitting there giving them the grand scheme and this is what I'm going to do and blah, blah, they might be sitting there thinking, I don't know. But you know what? This is my baby, so I'm going to do it, right? My son, 18 years old, all his life, everything he told me that he wanted to do fencing, he wanted to, do wrestling, he wanted to do this, he wanted to do that. Daughter wanted to take violin, now she wants to do guitar and piano and all this kind of stuff. I didn't always have the money to do those things, but I got it and I did it for them anyway, even knowing that they might quit. You know what I'm saying? They might, like my son wanted to play football, had to play football. Within a month, he was ready to quit. And we had spent hundreds of dollars buying his stuff. You know what I'm saying? I rearranged my work schedule to get him to practice. That's what I'm talking about. It was the same thing with fencing. With fencing, their equipment was like $1,000 for fencing. You had to get them, and they were going to outgrow the shit in a year. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that being said, that's what family does. And so, this is your dream. This is not their dream. So it's much better if you have patience. What makes us borrow money is that we don't have the patience to raise the capital on our own. $20,000, $15,000 to start a business, that ain't shit. A $14 an hour job is $30,000 a year. No matter what city you're in, there's somebody living in your city that works at McDonald's that's paying a rent, feeding themselves and maybe their children, right? If they can do it, you can do it. If you get a $30,000 a year job and you supplement on the weekends with a part-time job, you can save a significant amount of money each year. If I go and I work a 40-hour job, do a lot of overtime, work the weekends, things like that, if I can save myself, I don't know, $500 a month, right, which would be like a car note and insurance, everybody can afford that, $500. If I'm dead serious, if I'm willing to move in with my parents for 2-3 years while I save money for my dream, this is something I've been dreaming about since I was a kid. Let me stand this thing up. You could save $500 a month. You could save maybe $1,000 a month, depending on how much you make, which would come out to either $6,000 a year or $12,000 a year. If you can save $1,000 a month, matter of fact, I had an apartment. My apartment was $1,100. I rented a room for a year and a half. My room was $400 a month, $1,100 to $400. It was inconvenience, yes. Was it degrading? Yes. But I was able to save the money to do what I wanted to do. Very few people are willing to do that. Anybody can do it. You can do it. And so if you give yourself a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan or a 4-year plan, and you save even $500 a month, is $18,000 in 3 years. You see what I'm saying? So you can raise your own capital to get what you want. But my point is, I would highly advise against borrowing from family, because you don't want to put yourself in debt right in the beginning when you're first starting out. And you don't want the pressure on you to repay that money. If you take money that you saved for 3 to 4 years, you will have the money that you need without having to inconvenience anybody else for it. You just inconvenience yourself. You know what I'm saying? Except unless you move in with your brother or something like that for a couple of years. I mean, just don't leave his couch smelling like corn chips and keep the place clean. It shouldn't be that bad. But work, just putting in a lot of work, just working as much as you can, save as much as you can, penny pinch, drink your coffee at home, take your lunch to work, catch the public transportation instead of driving, downgrade your car, do whatever you got to do to save that money. It can be done. Trust me. I didn't seen it, man. I've seen people come fresh off the boat from third world countries that don't even speak English, that don't have education, they don't even have a high school diploma, and they can make this stuff happen. Hopefully you guys don't believe that this government's giving free money to foreigners. Okay? They not. These foreigners are willing to do what most of us are not willing to do. And that's why they own the nail shop. That's why they own the corner store. That's why they own the carryouts and stuff like that. And they pool money together. We can make that on another video. Here's another benefit. Giving yourself 3 years to plan. Matter of fact, I'm gonna walk to my car because I want to show you something. Giving yourself 3 years to plan gives you enough time to study the business. Gives you enough time to study the business that you want to go in. Many of us, because we are so anxious to get started, we often rush. Just like we're not willing to wait until we save up the finances, we're also not willing to wait to learn what we need to learn to go into business. So many of us are going into business as novices, and we're entering a business where we're competing against veterans in that business. Guys have been in business 5 to 10 years, or even 2 years. They know more than us. We have an idea, and we played it, we daydreamed about it, and maybe wrote out little plans and stuff like that. But these dudes are in the trenches, and they've been doing it. They're going to kick your ass because they know that business. Some of them may not be as hungry as you, but they know the ropes. They know the shortcuts, things like that, right? So if you take the slow route that I'm recommending of raising your own capital, save your own capital, and then go into business, at that same time, you have enough time to get out there and talk to these business owners. Hey, let me ask you a question. I want to get into this business. What advice can you give me? Ask them specific questions, about their business. Observe them, shop there. Go in and just walk around and observe. You know what I'm saying? Get on the internet and join groups where people that were in that business discuss things and argue and debate and share information. Learn as much as you can. When I was in college, I was an English major in school, but I worked at a commercial karate school. And I went in, I started out, I was coaching a tournament team for a fighting team for competition. But when I met the owner, it was a karate school chain. It was the most successful one in the DC area. And I met the owner, and he was talking to me about competition. He offered me to wear his uniform when I went to go fight. And I told him, he asked me about, was I interested in kickboxing, stuff like that. And I was like, Mr. Kim, I want to own a school. And you know what he did? He started teaching me about running the business. He said, well, you don't want to be in the classroom. You need to be in the office. And that's what happened. I transitioned from the classroom into the office, started out in sales. I learned that for a little bit. He moved me around to different areas. I trained with different managers. Then I became an assistant manager, then became a branch manager. So, and then eventually I became, I helped him train salespeople. So by the time I opened, I had studied martial arts from the inside. But I want to show you guys something. Oh my gosh, why is this taking so long? This, if you can see it. Screenshot that or pause it or whatever to look at it. You'll notice there are dates and there are amounts. When I first started this page, I was right here. November of 2000, it wasn't 2017. It wasn't 2017. That was March of, oh yeah, it was March of 2017. My bad. I have one like it for 2015 going into 2016. So this was the new one. So anyway, I had set myself a 3-year plan and I stuck to it. That's the final year. I hashed out every month, by pay period, how much money I would put into the bank. That money got transferred on payday, every payday. If there was very little left over, I just did without. I budgeted enough for gas, for food, for my child support, for my rent, money for my kids. And gave myself a budget, which was a very, very tight budget, and I'll put that in another video. And I lived off of that actually for 3 years. I did it 2015, 2016, 2017, and now I'm 2018, but I don't own the business anymore. I'm now working for somebody, and I'll tell you guys about that in another time. But I'm working for somebody for a lot less money, and but I'm only saving up money for my kids' graduation gift, and to buy them a car and get them an apartment. So that's all I'm doing right now. And other than this, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? So there'll be more videos about what I'm doing right now, but I just want to give that to you right now. So, but you give yourself a budget and you detail it out, and you plan that thing out 6 months from now, or 3 years from now, 2 years from now. You know exactly how much you will have on this date, and then you educate yourself while you're doing it, never taking your eye off the prize. You know what I'm saying? And that way, you're more prepared when that date arrives, as opposed to jumping in it right now and you don't really know what's going to happen 3 months from now. Plan that sucker out, man. Every detail you can think of. You know, shop if you want to. Go around, talk to landlords, get an idea about prices. I didn't watch, right here in Vallejo, I didn't watch rents rise. I have no intention of opening a business out here, but I was thinking about investing. Finding somebody that wants to get into that business, that I can teach them how to do it, and then I put up the money and let them do it. If they listen to me, we're gonna make money. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, if you study a real estate market over a period of time, you can see the little fluctuations and stuff, and you'll know what to expect by the time you get in there. Plus, you'll have relationships because you've already started talking to people, and you tell them, hey, you know, I'm thinking about opening a business in a couple of years, and I just want to get an idea about blah, 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 blah. In a couple of years, your credit might not be all that tight, but you got a relationship with this dude. You know, see what I'm saying? And you go to him and say, look, I was trying to, you know, I'm trying to save $10,000. I'm trying to save $15,000 or $20,000 to get into this business. What would it cost me to get into this space? And he tells you, and then you stay in contact with him. And then, you know, after a while, he may even call you, hey man, I got this spot. You know, if you ain't ready, don't do it. Trust me, the patience will pay off. The guy might even leave that company, go to another company, and hold on to your number. And then what happens is, the day that you're ready, when you go to him and say, you know what, I got it, you're almost a shoo-in. You ain't got to worry about credit, none of that kind of stuff. You know, you've been communicating with him, things like that, and he'll give you the best deal. You've had enough experience finding out about a triple net and you know, all the jargon, all the things that go with commercial rents. You know what I'm saying? Things that many guys that are just starting out, that jump in it with both feet or head first, are just learning while they're doing it, and you've been studying it for years. You know what I'm saying? So that's my advice for new guys starting out in business, or if you're planning on doing it. Okay, we are at 23 minutes. I'm ending this video. I will talk to you guys later. All right, peace.